Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. And the Stormers have the Rainbow Cup champions in their United Rugby Championship opener as they take on Benetton this weekend in Treviso in front of crowds, which will be quite an interesting thing for the South African side to adapt to because they haven't played in front of a crowd since about sort of February, March, in 2019. So it's been a long time since we've played any rugby in front of crowds as sort of South African teams. So it should be quite an interesting clash and a lot of experience in this Benetton side. It's a bit like the Zebra side that the Lions are going to be taking on tonight. Lots of international caps littered in and amongst the team, but also quite a lot of international players. And you'll notice about 3 South Africans in the starting lineup for Benetton, as well as a couple of Argentinians. So it's got a bit of an international flavor, does the Benetton side. For the Stormers, a pretty settled side. It's a pretty strong side, and very exciting locks and a very exciting backline. A couple of very interesting calls, including LIBBOK getting a start off the bat. Comes into the Stormers and will start at fly half as well. Before we do start, go through the teams and see what's what, please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. And we're going to start with the home side, which is of course Benetton. Now this is the side that beat the Bulls with quite a few changes from the exact side that took on Jake White's men a couple of months ago, and a lot of sort of players on debut. And you'll notice quite a few sort of players there that you might recognize, the likes of a Carl Wegner, DL Devenocher and Andries Coetzee. For South African fans will remember a lot of these players. But if you're looking at the front row, Nahil Chaparro is on a debut for Benetton. Very, very experienced, lucid, very, very talented. He's got Argentina caps. He's 32 years old. I think he's got over 50 caps for Argentina. So we know what he brings. And that's the sort of the perfect type of player that you want going into a competition like that. Just full of experience, full of international pedigree. The entire front row, in fact, if you look at Jean-Marco Lucchesi, who despite being very young, is internationally capped, as well as Tiziano Basqueli. So it's a full international front row, and I think that Chaparro will provide quite a stern test for the likes of Neethling for sure. In the second row, Nicolo Cannon, who we've seen quite a lot of in the Six Nations and in recent international games from Italy, will partner Carl Wegner, the former Cheetahs lock, in the second row, who's on debut. And then you've got the likes of Manuel Zuliani, Michel Lamoro, and then Ricardo Favretto, very, very exciting player, worth watching. He's a very big player, and I think he's got quite a bright international future ahead of him. 19 years old, 2 meters tall, 105 kg, so he's already got a cap for Italy, despite being 19, he turns 20 next month, and I think he'll be somebody worth watching in the coming years. Very, very big player, literally a big player. I think he will be quite a big player in terms of important player for Benetton moving forward. Then DL Devenocher, who sort of applied his trade at Western Province, that's where he kind of became well known, a bit of a Western Province. I wouldn't say a legend, but a bit of a cult hero, I suppose, in many ways. He partners 23-year-old Argentine fly half Thomas Albanoz, who has not yet to play for Argentina, but played a couple of games for the Jaguares, has played for Argentina 15, played for Argentina under 20, and he was replacing Paulo Garbizzi, who I'm very, very upset did leave Benetton, despite, I think he's one of the most exciting fly halves in and around Europe. He's such a talented player, and the fact that he's got so much exposure at such a young age, I think will pay dividends to Italy in the years to come. Looking through to the backs, a lot of very exciting players. Monty Aoni, I think, is a phenomenal talent for Italy. You talk about the fact that they are trying to build a side for the future. 26 years old, he's going to be there for a couple of years, and he's sort of been one of the most important players for Italy. It took him a while to before he sort of could play for Italy. He sort of only made his debut in 2020, but scores some good tries. Very nice finisher. He's got some pretty notable relatives. I think he's a cousin of Pete Samu. I think there's a relation to Digby Ioni. So he's got quite a lot of rugby blood in him, and a very, very exciting player. Then the 2 centers will be Joaquin Riera, who is an Argentinian center, 27 years old, and played a lot of spent a lot of time on the 7 circuit. I think he's got 55 tournaments or something like that to his name. And he is next to Marco Zanon, who, if you've been watching, has played quite a few games for Italy in the last year. He was sort of part of Franco Smith. Franco Smith pretty much went in and said, I'm going to start building a young Italian side. And that's where we saw the Garbizzis, the Zanons, somebody like a Ricardo Favretto, getting into the system. And I think it was quite an intelligent thing for him to do, because he basically walked in and said, we're never going to win the Six Nations. even if we sort of back our best players every single time. So he said, I want to find the most talented up-and-coming young Italian players. I want to get them in my system and I want them playing so that by the time they get to sort of a 2027 World Cup, they might have 8 years of international experience under their belt or 7 years of international experience and maybe try and do something a bit special. On the other wing with Montiaoni is Fijian wing Ratuva Tavuyara. And then obviously at fullback, we know Andries Coetzee spent so much time with the Lions as part of that sort of the Lions, the glory days, I suppose we can call it for the Lions. No silverware necessarily at Super Rugby level, but some very good rugby and a very good operator there. Springbok capped, so a nice player to have. Off the bench, Giacomo Nicotera, Federico Zani and Ivan Nemo will be the front row replacements. Federico Raza and Lorenzo Canon, who is on debut, will cover the extra scrum. And then you've got Callum Brayley, Leonardo Marin also on debut, and Tomasano Menoncello covering the rest of the backline. In terms of the Stormers team for tonight, this is how they will line up. Front row, Leon Lyons, Skara Entebeni, Leotin Foshia. I think the front row battle will probably be one of the big battles to watch between the two sides. And then you've got your co-captains in the second row. Ernst van Reyden will captain the side during the Currie Cup. Salman Murat is back. Someone who's on the Springbok radar and very highly rated by the likes of Rassie Erasmus. He was back from his neck injury after falling a bit awkwardly in training, and he will start in the second row as well. The loose trio is Dion Free on and Loney and Willie Engelbrecht partnering the very, very impressive Evan Ruiz, who had a storming Currie Cup season, will be one of the players to watch throughout the United Rugby Championship. Already calls to have him in the Springboks, and much like I was talking about in the Bulls preview in terms of Johan Goosen being able to do it in the international sides. Obviously, we know that Johan Goosen is proven in top 14 level stuff like that, but not necessarily at fly half. Evan Lewis has never played outside of South Africa. He hasn't really had the opportunity to sort of make his mark. And if he can have the type of season he had in the Currie Cup in the URC, it's just going to be a matter of time until he plays Springbok Rugby. Paul de Vet partners Manny LIBBOK. Very interesting that LIBBOK comes in and straight away slotting in at 10, a very attacking natured fly half. I really enjoy him. I think that's a fantastic signing by Stormers. And he steps ahead of Tim Swiel in the pecking order. Edel van der Merwe, who is Lions bound, will still continue to play for the Stormers over the next sort of month. He and Sergio Peterson will be the two wings. Rix Pretorius and Ruan Nal are the centre pairing. I like Ruan Nal outside centre. Not necessarily the most pace, but a very intelligent rugby player. And then one of my favourite players in South African rugby, Warwick Gelant, he looked in really good condition during the Currie Cup, and hopefully now we'll see a nice extended run. And I think he is the natural successor for Velu in international colours. Off the bench, pretty young front row, and Andre Hugo Venter, Dian Blula, and Sazi Sandi. Particularly impressed with Sazi Sandi, who got a couple of games towards the end of the Currie Cup and stood up and sort of was counter and said, I actually am ready to play this level. And that was kind of the benefit of the Currie Cup. And then new signing, RJ Smith is the replacement lock. Now McClabber will come off the bench. Loney, Stefan Angura. Sorry, in fact, I think he's actually signed a contract as Stefan Angura. So new player, Stefan Angura at Stormers, and then Tim Swiel and Jean de Jong. So plenty of experience in Tim Swiel and Jean de Jong in terms of being able to come on and see out a game in a mixed couple of very young players. It's a very good side from the Stormers, and a lot of experience well, it's quite a young side from Benetton, but a lot of exciting players there. So overall, I'm looking forward to seeing how Stormers and get on. Obviously, hopefully we get to see the Lions getting off a decent start tonight, but then there will be the second South African team in action before Leinster versus Bulls, and finally the Sharks will be sort of the last ones flying the flag high this weekend when they take on Munster in the late kickoff tomorrow night. Please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel. My name is Steven. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll chat to you soon.